Okay, let it breathe. Welcome to all those who are about to come in. Welcome to all of those that will be watching the video later on down the line. Please like, share, subscribe. It's much, much appreciated. We're going to get on with the tarot of the day, energies of the day to help the guidance, to help offer the guidance. To have foresight in your decision making, in the control of your elements, in the projection of your reality. Take what resonates, it is general, and leave what does not. I appreciate everybody who listens and shares, of course. So I'm just waiting for some people to come in on the chat to make sure everything's streaming okay and working in the way that it should. Let's see. Is it on? There we go. So it is the 2nd of July 2021. And we have got the energies around us all of the time. So when we can look at them with foresight and knowing and be able to project ourselves into each minute of the reality that's about to come with that foresight, it helps us maintain a level of balance. It helps us get the deals that we want in business. It helps us go forward with the way that we would want to go forward when we are looking in hindsight at many situations. So for the 2nd of July 2021, the first card is on the bottom of the deck. We have the Page of, where is it? Page of Swords. How can you see it best? I'm going to go up to the camera. It's not very... So, Page of Swords. So this speaks here. There's my sister. I'm going to read that out. Hello, you awesome people. Abundant favor to you all. Susie says, nothing missing, nothing broken. May peace be with you always in the midst of chaos. Swords and shields up. When sister speaks that out, she means it, and you can gain from it by joining in intent with that, because she's a powerful, powerful goddess. So, Page of Swords. So the Page of Swords speaks of looking for the truth, seeking the truth, wanting to be in the midst of the truth. It's a fast energy. It's a energy that is one that is of a seeking type of energy. It wants to look, it wants to dig, it wants to turn over those stones. It is like the inquisitive child. It is air, and so it is rapid. And this is where we find our purpose today, in finding our own truths, and then on the wider stage, finding the truths within that, and finding where we stand with both our truth and the truth that is being portrayed. Is it the truth? Looking at the lies and the situations that we lie to ourselves about, and the lies that therefore others and opposing forces will lie to us about. It's about digging and finding, seeking and finding. And so it is a fast-paced energy. Taper yourself in this, temper yourself in this. Be ready for this type of fast-paced information coming in today, but also, be aware to be balanced and be grounded within this. It's a lot of air. You can have so much information at once that you blow off like a big hot air balloon and find yourself stranded, floating above the ground, finding it difficult to get back down there to ground this energy, to center this energy. Every powerful force, and truth is a powerful force in our own lives, and the perception of it is a powerful force in our own lives. But at the same time, like every great power, like lightning, it needs to ground, it needs to be able to ground that energy to, in order so that it doesn't, break itself, rather than and explode on itself, implode, explode, which we can do when we have too much air and not enough grounding. So be cognizant of that today. On the bottom of the other deck, the clarifying deck, we've got I'll get this right, Alvin. The Hierophant. So Major Arcana, this is speaking of the esoteric, exoteric, and mesoteric knowledge being passed down into the physical realm, into the realm where it can be used and appreciated, but it is only given to those that can understand it. So with that Page of Swords energy and the Hierophant energy, this is where you are seeking that truth. And when the teacher is ready for the student, and when the student is ready for the teacher, you'll find that they appear even in some of the oddest places, even out of the mouths of babes for some of you today, just different things being said that ignite a thought process that takes you onto the next level of knowing whatever it is that you've been seeking. This speaks to the Hierophant energy cannot and will not give its ancient knowledge, its ancient knowing of this realm and others to those that cannot handle it. There is a danger in that. Now, because this is a page, it very much is a student energy, but be astute, be the master in knowing that when you pass on this knowledge that you are coming across today, these truths within your own life, these lies within your own life that you are coming across today, be masterful as to how you present that to others, and whether you even present it at all. There is a danger in the neophyte having too much information, having too much of the ancient knowledge. And this is where there's the truth and the lie in these secret societies. They've gotten all out of balance, all out of whack, but ancient knowledge that could move mountains, that could manifest mountains, that could manifest electrical charge around a person in an instant, was coveted, and was coveted for a reason. This is where we have to mature into this level of knowing, into this level of wisdom, in order to be able to use it correctly. Right now we have far too many people with levels of wisdom, but with levels of knowledge, but without the wisdom of how to apply it. And they are applying it in trying to keep their power, trying to keep their oppression, whether that's in your individual lives or on the outside. So be aware of that, not casting your pearls before swine, before those that cannot understand it. So it's a lot of fast-paced, fast air energy today. Knowledge, truth, it's coming in fast, thick and fast. So we have as the first card the King of Staffs. So this speaks to it being in reverse though, and this is where where the King of Staffs in the upright is a beautiful energy, where it is the people pleasing energy, in that it pleases the person that this energy is around, just to be around them. They're on fire, they're passionate, they're the funny characters in the group. They're the group that the party doesn't really get started until they enter the room and start making light of everything. They make light of everything, but there is a lot of wisdom behind there. There is a lot of knowledge. It is fire. It is passion. It is that creative spark represented in a person. So with it being in reverse, this is where often the person themselves gets burnt. Maybe there's been too much of an energy of wanting that attention from others, rather than just naturally being able to be yourself, know yourself well enough that when you walk in the room, others want to give you that attention, rather than you starting to covet it and draw it. When I say you, it might be that somebody in your individual life that you're coming across today that is wanting the limelight, that's wanting the attention, and once the attention drawn to them. This is where you can get burnt within these situations, in that this is the type of narcissistic energy that can end you up, have you end up in cycles that are hard and difficult to get out of, for sure. Can often end in the dark night of the soul type of energy, to be able to get out of that spiral. So be warned of that. Now we've got the next card in reverse also, and that is the King of Cups. And so this speaks to real negative energies coming from a masculine place today, in that it feels like there might be a lot of fighting on the streets regarding men in particular, or two very prominent groups of the men within two very prominent groups fighting, having even a bit of a shoot off, a bit of an argument that makes headlines, and that could cause harm to others, to innocent bystanders. So be aware of that. It also speaks on the collective stage that we are being hit by these rivalries that these so-called powers that be have with one another, in that they're all working on the same team, but the narcissistic side of them is lost in the game just as much as the sleeping in the collective are lost in the game. The game feels so real to them right now, and they're the type of game players that, when you're a kid, they're the type of game player that when they're not winning, they'll walk away, but they won't just walk away, they'll toss the whole Monopoly board up so nobody knows where they're at. They'll ruin the game for everyone else. And so we're going to see today some of that, this rivalry between two big prominent characters on the wider stage of things, probably political figures, so we're going to see that kind of, and that seems as though it's going to filter down onto the streets and energy into the streets, where the representation or the seemingly supportive roles of each group to each politician, let's say, loses their shit and starts fighting amongst each other. Again, they've created this illusion that the game is completely real and the rules should not be changed. It's like getting in that space that some kids get into where they can't lose. And if they're going to lose, they'll make everybody else lose out too, regardless of the ramifications and repercussions of such acts. So we see that. Now that is then reflected above these puppets, and in the shadowy beings, the families, these families that took a hold of the world through the monetary system, in particular through the religious system, and then built themselves systems for their very selves, the policing system, the banking system in itself. And so we're going to see that today there is something, that is why it is filtering down from them. What is above is below and vice versa. So it's filtering down from them, this rivalry that they have, that has got them actually making some mistakes today and for the rest of the weekend, I would say. This rivalry that they've got, which is then filtering down into the very people that they puppet, political figures, which is then filtering down again into even more puppets like Hollywood influencers. Expect a lot of virtue signaling this weekend from Hollywood type influencers, or just influencers in general that have gotten as big as Hollywood type actors and actresses, putting their message across that they support this side, and another putting their message across that they support this side, and it feels very conflicting and very messy. And so that then is filtering down into the collective, into the peoples, which then has us dealing with the mop-up of the ramifications of such actions, of such rivalries. So be careful, particularly in America this weekend, but also in the UK and Australia, about these rivalries. Go and try your damnedest to spread the truth, spread the knowledge to those who can listen. Those who are lost are lost in the game. They're supporting one side and the other supporting the other side. That's, lost in the game. But there are some that you can reach today with these certain truths as a messenger, in order to not have them wrapped up in a dangerous space, i.e. On the streets, in big groups of people, in particular in America this weekend, and in yourself not be buying into that aspect of the game. People will look around you that respect you, that know you, and recognize that difference, and will come to you for the knowledge rather than you having to try and force feed it down their mouths. So this masculine energy is rife today, and it is triggering reactionary states within people for sure, and over the rest of the weekend, to be quite frank. So the sun comes out, the sun will come out tomorrow. It's not out today in the UK. So it decides to come out one day and it gets shy again the next. So, but it is the sun. It's in reverse, but it is the sun. So regardless, it's bringing an energy that is of enlightenment, that is of, again, fire. Expect some solar activity over the weekend. I'm not too sure what's happening in the skies, but maybe expect some solar activity that is notable, normal, but notable in over the weekend. It brings light into the darkness regardless, whether it is in the upright as a card or in the reverse. It's bringing, there's a necessity, I feel, today and over the weekend for the sun to actually be in reverse. For us to actually bring that enlightenment down into the root, bring that enlightenment down into this realm, bring that enlightenment down onto the ground where the boots meet the ground, so to speak, to be able to see from a different perspective, to really bring that light into the darkness. So yes, there might be a few things popping off today and over the weekend that feel real negative. You wish they weren't happening, and that will be in your individual lives if this resonates with you. And it may feel real dark for a moment. It may feel like you're in that void, but the sun coming out in reverse is actually a gift. It is bringing it down into the root. There are things that can be seen here and done here to clear out that isn't serving you in the root of you, in the knowing of who you are, in the new projection that you would like to portray of who you are growing into with this wisdom and knowledge that you're taking on board. So bringing that sun down into where it is needed most. Yes, it's great in the sky, but what does it do to make things grow? It shines down onto the ground. It shines its full color spectrum down into the ground so that it can be absorbed by those plants, in enabling them to grow. And yes, you're going to find yourself around a lot of weeds, but what are weeds? There's some things, there were plants that were demonized by people who then wanted to spray them with cancer-causing chemicals. Go figure. Yet most weeds, all weeds I've come across thus far, whether good or bad, have a holistic and powerful impact on what it can do for your health. And so, yes, the weeds grow when you're down in the mud, down in the ground, so to speak. But every one of those weeds is useful for a different application. So bring this knowledge into your individual life today and see where things need to be used differently, looking at it from a different perspective, from a different aspect of the light spectrum. And being able to find those gems, those wisdoms, those knowledge with that Hierophant card and with the Page of Swords on the bottom of the deck. Now, to clarify the sun in reverse, we have the Page of Cups, thankfully, in the upright. So this speaks again, we've got two pages now, two messengers. This speaks to being like a child. To find the lightness even amongst the greatest chaos, to remember it to be a game, an experience, for your greatness, if you choose it to be so, to be an evolving experience rather than devolving experience. So being able to be like a child and not be afraid to get messy and dirty. Children aren't afraid to feel their elements. One minute they can be screaming and having the screaming habdabs and the greatest temper tantrums, and the next minute you pull a funny face and bang, they're into that laughing, a happy air element where then they want to talk and they want to instead of screaming, they suddenly control their air element, and they're able to speak to you. They're able to clarify what they meant or what they're frustrated about. So it's about breaking those cycles in your own individual life, where maybe you've gotten a bit too serious, maybe you've gotten a bit too stuck, too fixed and adult-like. Maybe you have been in certain situations, relationships, and business relations, friendships for too long, and you've gotten so serious as to the ramifications of the ending, forgetting that the child goes from ending to ending to ending and just transmutes themselves through it real quick. They end one imaginary game and roll into the next. They don't tend to mourn what they are letting go, what they are leaving behind, when they see something else that is interesting, something else that has the wisdom and knowledge that they're seeking, or the excitement and the love and appreciation and happiness that they're seeking. So the advice would be, from the Sun card being in reverse from me this day, would be to not be afraid of your elements. Be like a child. Allow yourself to feel those elements, but also have the added extra of knowing that you have lived a life and that you are an adult and you can control your elements. And it is a lie that kept a lot of people in a lot of money, to say that anxiety cannot be unlearned, and anxiety cannot be channeled and controlled, that you are not just stuck in this space, that when you allow yourself to feel those elements, to feel all of the experiences and feelings that come along, when you allow yourself to feel that fire, feel that water, feel that air, and feel that earth. We get afraid of it, because a lot of people say, well, I'm not going to cry, because if I start crying, I don't know if I'll ever stop. Yeah, you're going to stop. Your tears will run out, but you have done what you were feeling led to do at that moment, and you have released. Also, if you are keeping things pent up in one aspect of your elements, say you are stopping yourself from having a few tears when you want to have a few tears, then when you are feeling that air element and laughing out loud to the point where it moves you to tears, you're not going to be able to get to that space, because you haven't been channeling your tears in the other aspects and the other experiences and the elements that were wanting to come forward within that experience. So you'll find that you miss out on the higher side of things by not indulging and knowing yourself in the lower frequency side of things, and being able to channel and manipulate and control your elements, whatever part of the light spectrum you are on at any given moment, and to take divinity and sovereignty and control over that as an adult, as an empath, as an intuitive, to say, yes, I can feel this, because right now I know that I am wise enough, old enough, able enough to be able to change up a gear or change down a gear, to change the element as and when I need to. So it is like a child, getting back to those nitty gritties, taking things apart as children love to do, to see how they work, to see what cogs are involved inside of the clock. And so this is where we do find ourselves today, in amongst the dirt. Are you going to have fun? Are you going to be able to experience all of the elements while you're down there and play the game, make the mud pies, make the rose petal perfume? Or are you going to sit there and are you going to suck worms? That song, I'm going to the bottom of the garden to suck worms. It's your choice. But you can gain from this day by getting down and in the dirt and being as light and transformative as a child. So as the next card, we have the Knight of Pentacles. So we've gone from the pages to the Knight. So this is Earth. So when you get into that Earth element with everything that I've just described, you immediately level up from that page energy to that Knight energy, where you have a strategy to go forward, where you can think logically, where you can apply that logic for the best of your abilities and for your ultimate greatness on any given day. This night is very thoughtful and methodical. It is like getting on a horse that is so sure-footed, you never feel like you're going to fall or go down a ditch. There's a plan in every step involved, and it becomes so intuitive. Why? Because you've been down into the nitty-gritties of your elements, and you have allowed yourself to experience and play with them all. So when it comes to then applying it in your life as you go forward, you can apply it with strategy, with logic, with intent, with focus. And this night is very focused, and he has a lot of intent as to where he's going to actually end up, but also how he's going to plot the way there. And so this is a lot of it's a weapon in your armory, so to speak, because it has become so intuitive to you to be guided by your elements, just as a sure-footed horse is, that they can literally measure the depth of the ground, or whether the ground is hollow in spaces, just by their hoof meeting that ground. Why? Because they've never lost their intuition to do so. We as adults are indoctrinated and controlled so much in order that we are micromanaged so much that when others micromanage us, they can micromanage us for good or bad, and we can allow them to do it. But when we are in management of ourselves and in flow, it is very difficult to fool us. It's very difficult to tell us that the ground isn't hollow where it is. So we're not going to put our foot through the ground. We're sure-footed, and so there's a power in that. Now, the Queen of Cups comes out in reverse to clarify the Knight of Earth, the Knight of Pentacles. So this speaks to being very cognizant of where you plant in your seed. Pentacles also being the seed that fruits will grow from. Your money, where are you planting that money? Are you in fact planting seeds, or are you not strategizing along those lines? It also speaks to relationships very much so. Men, where are you allowing your seed to be planted? Women, what are you allowing to enter into that sacred space? Does it really resonate? Is it really fruitful? Or is it going to add to a cycle of devolving rather than evolving? So be very cognizant of where you're planting your seed, your pentacles, your sperm, where you are doing that, because there is a lot of spiritual, sensual dirt today. And where it might feel good in the moment, those waters that you might, in particular for men, those waters that you might be planting that seed into, there may be some not so great things within that water holding memory. And so the memories of that person, the experiences that they've maybe had that have put them into what would be a loving, compassionate and nurturing Queen of Cups, in the upright, in control of her emotions. This is where you do get that sneaky energy of fooling somebody into trusting the waters that they are entering into, having ulterior motives. And this isn't just something to be cognizant of in the physical, and there may be potential repercussions of planting your seed in the wrong waters for what would be then birthed forward from that as a physical child. But also, and more importantly at this point, because that is for very few of you, for more of you, it is about the repercussions of the fallout, of the trouble that can be caused through planting your seed in the wrong waters. We've got 2 pages here, a lot of messages being passed by, a lot of talking to be done. So having the wisdom of the Hierophant, which is with the sun, there's 2 major arcanas, to know where to plant your wisdom, where to plant your seed, your fruit, or your potential fruit, is very important today and for the rest of the weekend. try not to enter into relations like this after you've had a good drink. Things can happen. Now, in the spiritual, it is just as much about the spiritual, sensual uncleanliness here, in that, yes, there will be physical repercussions planting your seed in the wrong waters, but also then there is the element of attachments, that spiritual attachments that can enter into a space that is more of the neophyte space, not having the wisdom to know where to put your seed in the first place, and can get attached to you. You don't want that right now. There is too much to be done in order to be entering into that. There's too much work to get done as a collective and in our individual lives to plant your seed in the wrong waters. So that is the reading for the 2nd of July 2021. I hope it helps you reach your greatness. I sure hope it helps you decide where to put your seed and where not to put your seed, because that is a powerful one for the guys in particular, and the women, but in particular the men today. Hey, beloved. Hey, Andrea in the chat. My Susie Q. I love you. Love you all. Paul from Newcastle. Hey to you, brother KB. You there. Susie, you are such a star. There's an email for any personal readings, any energy work sessions, or any spiritual coaching sessions that Susie Q makes sure she keeps me right with. What's happened to KB? You're so welcome, Andrea. I hope it helps you reach the decisions for your greatness. Make those decisions towards your greatness. Sean, hey, Sean. You're welcome. Have a good day. Have a fantastic day. Oh, KB. I'm so sorry. You know, I went to the groups that we've got going on yesterday, and I spoke. Funny enough, there's a guy there talking about the Titanic. Isn't that funny? After I just put out that video regarding the wars, well, the Titanic was sort of the lead up to that. There was definitely 4 key players on there, maybe more, that if they had lived, I don't think the Federal Reserve would be what it is or even exist as it does today. So that was a definite plan. It was very interesting to show a little bit like I did with the wars and those families yesterday. It was very interesting it found the correlations of this being a setup, something that had been well thought out way long down the line. So that was interesting. And just as I was reading Raven's comment about the Titanic, going up the stairs, this guy was saying the Titanic. So that was synchronistic. But I'm telling you that, KB, because yesterday I held so many people after I'd done the talk. And I held one lady in particular that, she's a beautiful lady. You'd love her. And she just cried in my arms, a daughter having gotten the special infusion. And it was heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking. So we're here for you, KB. We're not going to not be real and not know what's been said, what's been researched. I felt this as being part of a big problem, and families are dividing over it, in particular where the children are concerned. So it's the same age as my Abby at 21. So, not giving any medical advice, but I went to the shop and bought some aspirin the other day, KB. Maybe you should go and visit a shop and get some aspirin. You know, that saying that aspirin a day keeps the doctor away. I was just, at the same time reading a book regarding heart, blood clots and whatnot. So, you never know, that book, might come in handy. And you might just go to a shop and you might just buy that. And you might just give it to your son as a gift. Aye, aye, aye. Raven. Oh no, the service is slow. A lot of internet problems. Then dance around in the rain. I like that, Sean, brother. I like to dance in the rain. And then finally let the sun dry you off. Paul, that's a synchronicity. He's been in the garden digging up those weeds. Well, use them. I use all of the weeds in my garden. I let them grow for a bit and then use them. So go play in the mud, everyone. Mud fight. Hey, Thomas. Have you found new Thinking Aloud channel on YouTube? James Tunney live stream and others are very good. Well, I'll have a look at that. Thank you. Thanks, Thomas. Thunder on Sunday. Yikes. I like thunder though. I do like thunder and lightning. Raven says, I could watch a Pier 6 brawl with chairs, tables, and briefcases in the Senate, Congress, or various parliaments. Be almost worth a pay-per-view. It would. It would. I've been watching them like a hawk and they're so boring half of the time. So if they start throwing briefcases, I'd be over the moon. I'd be over the moon. Hey, my brother, Elder Barry. I think I've got everybody. Tatkins Jr., hey to you. Yeah, I've got everybody. So, interesting day. Let me know what fights you see going down. You know, it's going to be intense this weekend, I think, in America. I think it's going to be intense in America. Just stay out of the streets, you know, to stay out of. Yes, yes, yes. So I've got a reading to do, and then I'm going to hop back on and we're going to talk about corrupted code and spirals. And love you too, Susie. Love you, love you. And corrupted code and spirals. Yeah, that's what we're going to talk about. So I'll see you all real soon. Remember to share this out, like it, and of course, come over to the socials, subscribe, follow, tweet, whatever it is on any given social. And I appreciate you all and love you all. And thank you for being here. Much love, balance, and wholeness. Mwah.